Right, so here we go, part 3. 3 videos done. Okay, so going back to what I was saying. So the most scariest part about my attempted rape was the reaction of my family. Now, back then, I was being both physically and mentally abused by my mom's sister, my auntie. I didn't tell anyone about it at the time because I was a kid. Who's gonna believe a stupid ass kid? That's the way I saw it. So my auntie used to beat me so much, and she gave my grandparents the perception of me that I am a troubled child. I do not listen. I'm very frisky. I'm boy crazy. And so because she implanted these ideas into my grandparents' head, this is how they saw me. So when this incident happened and they called, because the lady that basically turned against us, she decided she's going to call my grandmother, and she tells my grandmother this horrid story of me. Now, my grandmother knew I was a virgin. I'm pretty sure somewhere in her she knew that this person they were describing wasn't me. Because why would I just take a boy into an alley, drop his pants down, and try to put his finger in my mouth? No. I haven't even had sex yet. Like, no, I wasn't doing that. But yeah, she gave this story to my grandparents and they believed it. And my auntie believed it. And basically, when the court proceedings were happening, I had to, because I was young, I had to go with an adult to these proceedings. My grandma and grandpa didn't want to show up. They felt embarrassed of what I was being accused of. And so my auntie had to show up, the one that was beating the shit out of me. And she didn't want to turn up either. And she said to me in my face, why would I want to turn up for something like that? We send you to school to learn. Instead, you're going to suck people's penises. She looked at me in disgust and she beat me as well. She beat the shit out of me because she believed that this is what I was doing. And it wasn't. I did not. At that time, I wasn't boy crazy at all. I didn't really care about men like that. But yeah, she beat the shit out of me. And it was painful. And I had bruises. And when I went to my court date that day, I can remember my principal asking, with my friend, her mom was there. No, I think it was her mom, or her guardian was there, but someone was there for her. And on my side, you saw no one. And my principal asked me, oh, is your guardian coming? Are they running late? And I said, no, none of them are coming. They believe that what this person said was true, so they're not going to be here to support me. And obviously my principal knew the type of kid I was and knew that what this woman was saying was not true. But my family believed it. And she said to me, you know what, don't worry about it. I'll stand in there with you. And so she was there with me in the court. And, oh, I did want to cry about it because I was a kid. And going through something like that was scary for me. Try not to tear up. I haven't spoken about this in a long time. It was a lot for me. All I wanted was someone to be there for me, to support me, because I knew that I didn't do anything. I was an innocent little child just enjoying my childhood, and these boys just decided to take what was mine. It wasn't there for them to take, but they wanted to take it from me. And if that lady wasn't there, God knows how far they would have went with everything. But yeah, I didn't have my family support at all, and that affected me. And already being a child filled with anger, I was just even more angry. And I just felt like no one loved me, no one cared about me, and yeah, it went on for some time. I mean, the abuse became worse. I don't know if my auntie was planning on killing me, but with the way she beat me, it's like she wanted to kill me. She would, obviously at the age of 12, I call him my childhood sweetheart. God, I love this boy so much. He was like a family friend. I met him at his grandmother's 70th birthday, and since then we were like inseparable. And I think I cared a lot about him as well because he knew some of the things I was going through, and he was there for me emotionally. Like sometimes I'll call him and he would say all these lovely things to me. So he was there for me at the most stressful point of my life. And every time my auntie found out I was talking to him, she'll beat me. There's times where I'll go to school with a busted lip or bruises on my body, and when people ask me, I'll just say, nothing happened, or just make up a story or something. It was difficult. I started to see that when my auntie and them came over, things became even harder. It's like the way I was with my grandparents wasn't the same anymore. Everything changed because this woman gave them the perception that I'm just this horrible child, and so I needed to be punished for it. And the ways in which she'll beat me, there's times where she's tried to choke me, like proper choke me. She's tried to strangle me with a shoelace. Um, she's slammed me into walls. She's busted my lip a few times. Um, just for little things. It's not like I was doing anything major. I'll give an example. One time she wanted to eat. She's made her food, and she forgot to get a spoon. And so she said to me, "Go get me a spoon from the kitchen." And I went and go get the spoon. And as I was bringing it to her, I don't know if the spoon was slippery or what it was, but I dropped the spoon basically by mistake. And as I dropped the spoon, she looked at me and she punched me straight in my mouth, and I started to bleed. I had to go to the bathroom, obviously, clean up all the blood. There's another punishment she'll give me as well, which was absolutely exhausting. We call it pump. So when you're pumping, I hope I can find a picture of it. If I can find a picture of it, I'll put it on the screen. But basically, you hold your two ears like this, and you stand up, and you go all the way down, all the way up. Now, my auntie used that punishment quite a lot with me. So let's say, for example, right now it's 10:06. Let's say it's 10:06 p.m. I probably will have to keep doing that till about 5, 6 in the morning. By the time I'm done, I'm sweating. She told me to go take a shower, and then I have to go to sleep and then get ready for school in the morning. This went on for years. There was times where what she'll do is, because she didn't want my grandparents to know how badly she was punishing me, she'll take me into the room and close the door. And there was times where my grandfather would walk in and see what she was doing, and he would say to her, "You know, what you're doing, one day she's going to call the police on you and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So you need to stop what you're doing." And sometimes he would tell me to stop my punishment and to go take a shower and she wouldn't like it because he would get involved. So she tried to find more ways to hide her abusing me, basically. When I was about the age of, ooh, probably about 12, 13. I was a girl, so, you know, at some point I like things like nail polish. Um, I did ask her if I was allowed to put it on. And she said to me, yeah, I'm allowed to, but it has to be clear nail polish because I go to school, and obviously schools don't accept that. Even schools in the UK, you can't put colourful nail polish on your child to go to school. They frown upon it. So at that time, my auntie was pregnant with her first child. She's around in her 40s, and she's about a good 5-6 months pregnant, quite big. And so with pregnancies comes a lot of agitation and things like that. So my beatings got worse. I remember putting the nail polish on. I went into the bathroom because I didn't want her to obviously be agitated with the smell. She didn't like the smell of the nail polish. And so went in the bathroom, was putting on this nail polish, you know, feeling good about myself. I thought, you know, it looks really nice, you know. Sitting there putting the nail polish on, and then I can hear very big footsteps, just like proper stomping on the floor. And she comes into the bathroom and she's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm just putting on nail polish. You said I can put on nail polish, but it has to be clear. So I got grandma's one, and I was just putting it on. I put it on in the bathroom so I wouldn't bother you with the smell. And you can just see the rage in her face. And like, she pushed me onto the toilet seat, and she took my hands, and she was looking around. I was thinking, what's she looking for? I thought she was looking for like nail polish remover to like take off the nail polish from my fingers. But instead, what she picked up was a shaving stick. And what she did was, in her head, she wanted to shave off the nail polish. What she ended up doing is shaving off my fingernail. And when she first took the razor to my nail and she saw me bleeding, she didn't stop. She kept going until half my fingernails were gone. Then she stopped. And I was screaming. I don't know where my grandparents were at this time. I think they was upstairs, because where we lived was like 2 floors and I was downstairs. And yeah, she shaved off my fingernail and I was bleeding a lot. I didn't go to hospital or anything. I just tried to stop the blood as much as I can. Eventually, I stopped bleeding, and then I put a band-aid over it and just went about life as normal. A lot of people didn't know, even my cousin and my grandparents didn't know the abuse that I was going through, and we all lived in the same house. As the years went by, as I got older, things became more stressful. She started giving me black eyes, and I started having more bruises on my body. And there was one time I went to school and I was bleeding. I think I was bleeding from either my arm or my neck. And I remember my August teacher, she's this Asian woman. I used to love her because I used to play the cello. I loved my instruments when I was younger. And she came up to me and she was like, because we have like dress down days where you get to wear, sometimes within the month you get to wear no uniform. So I was wearing this white top, and then she came to me and she was like, you're bleeding. And I was like, oh snap, I didn't realize. And so she pulled me into the room and she said to me, what's happening? Like, you're coming to school with bruises, you've come in today, you're bleeding. Should I call the police for you? I said to her, no, please don't call the police. I don't want to get my family into trouble. And then I don't know how I did it, but I got into contact with my dad again. And I invited him over to my recital where I was playing the cello. My dad plays the piano, so I didn't know that at the time. Yeah, he came to my recital, and I could see him in the crowd. he had like a big tummy, and I was thinking, God, my dad got fat. um, I hadn't seen him since I was 7, and this time I was about 14, around 14. And just when I looked out into the crowd and I saw my dad, oh, I was so excited. I felt so loved because none of my family ever comes to any of my recitals. So like seeing my dad there, and he just looked so proud of me as well. Oh, sorry. But yeah, he just looked so proud of me, and I've never been so happy to see my dad. And after the recital, he took me out to eat. It was him and my new stepmom at the time. He was remarried to someone else. And I broke down. He was asking me, oh, how have I been? And things like that. I didn't tell my grandparents I had invited him to my recital until when I got home, because I didn't think he was actually going to turn up. But he actually did. And so when he asked me how I was doing, I broke down and I told him about all the abuse that my auntie was putting me through and how she'll beat me and in the way she'll beat me. Showed him my bruises. And obviously my dad's a police officer. And he said to me, do you want to get out of that situation? And I said, yeah, I do. Because I'm tired of being beaten all the time and being treated a certain way. And my auntie will come to school and beat me. There was one time she turned up in my school with her walking stick to beat me. She beat me in front of my class. And I said to him, I'm just so tired of getting beaten up. And so he gave me the idea. He said, in America, if you run away a certain amount of times, they'll get a social worker involved. And what that social worker will do is eventually they'll ask you, where do you want to go? And he said, when they ask you where you want to go, tell them your dad's a police officer, that you want to stay with me. And so I started running away. I'll go to school and I won't come home. I did this about a few times. They ended up giving me a social worker. The social worker I had, now my auntie is just as manipulative as my mom. So what ended up happening is they made friends with the social worker. And because my cousin didn't know what was going on as well, they went to his school to talk to him about, what's been going on at home. And obviously he was very disrespectful and just not cooperative with them at all. And my grandparents were furious that social services were involved. But I can't blame them. They didn't know what was happening. I didn't say anything to anyone. And because they made friends with the social worker, instead of doing her job and realizing, and she's seen all my bruises and stuff like that, but she just glossed over the fact that I was being abused. And so I went to my dad and I complained to him and I said, this is not working. They made friends with the social worker, so now even if the social worker sees something, she'll write in her report that she didn't see anything. And so what my dad did was he called and tried to get my social worker changed. And even I started to request it as well. And then they changed my social worker. When they changed my social worker now, I got this lady, basically, she was not into the whole friendly thing that my auntie was trying to do. She was like, oh, do you want some tea or do you want some coffee? And, and this woman was just like, no, I'm not here for that. Now, I've seen bruises on her body. And they spoke to my teachers in school, and a lot of my teachers can vouch that I do come to school with bruises, and there was one time I did come bleeding. God bless my orchestra teacher. She spoke the most. She wrote a statement, and she told them, yes, I have been a witness to Thelma coming to school in bruises, and she even came one time bleeding. And I'm going to tell you what happened next in the next video.